Blackline Brief starts now.
What is up, everybody? Happy August 5th. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another episode of the Blackline Brief. I'm your host, Matthew McKim, and today we will have two special guests. Right now, it's Matthew St. Baker from Australia, and Muppet Masher will be joining us shortly. When I did the when I was looking at the time zone differences, it said when it is 6 p.m. your time, Pacific Standard Time, it will be 12 p.m. their time in the different time zones that they're in Australia. However, it was wrong. And so Muppet was like, hey, I'm going to step out for a bit. He's been like working and he's like, I'm going to step out, but I'll be back in time for the show. And I've been messaging him and Matthew St. Baker, and Matt was like, yeah, oh no, it's right now. I was off. So Matt's here and Muppet will be showing up shortly. So Matthew, how are you doing, bro?
I'm very good. Thanks, Matt. And how are you?
Doing pretty good. Just on vacation in Southern California, hence the red, the shiny redness on my face. But overall, doing good. Yeah, it's my 41st. I almost said like 41st birthday today. Thank you so much, you guys in the chat. I could see that. Thank you. So yeah, everything's
Happy
going.
birthday.
Thank you so much, man. Were you were there this morning on the X Space, weren't you?
Yes, I was. Yeah. So,
dude, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you go.
Were you there from like late last night?
Yeah, I only got in late. I think I got in at about the same time as you, actually, because when I came in, they were saying, hi, Matt, and then I thought they were talking to me, and then I realized they were talking to you. So, all good.
Yeah, especially like if you, me, and Matthew Tuzzaroni are all in the same X Space, it gets kind of hard. Which Matt are you talking about? Do you have a nickname that you go by?
No. I'm just not used to so many Matts around. Actually, when I was at school, there was heaps of Matts, but these days, like with my kids, there's not many Matts in their classes. So I think it's a generational thing because, there's suddenly heaps of Matts in these X Spaces, and we're going to start calling each other different names so we know who we're talking to. But people call me Matthew on X because that's when I originally set up the profile. I wrote my full name in, even though all Matthews are known as Matt, except for when their mum is angry at them, and then it's Matthew.
That's 100% correct.
Absolutely.
That's 100% correct. Oh, so you are actually not like your full name. Your name is Matthew St. Baker.
Correct.
Oh,
yep.
All right.
Yep.
All right, cool. Yeah, I didn't know. What is St. Baker? Is that like a pretty common Australian last name?
Absolutely not. We're the only ones that we know of. So I don't even know the full origin of it. It may have been an abbreviation from like St. Thomas Baker or something like that. And so the Thomas might have got dropped off. And then over the years, the Saint got dropped off. So when my grandfather got married, when they pulled up the birth certificates and things to do the marriage certificate, because he was always known as Harry Baker. All through his life, all through his school life, work life, he was always known as Harry Baker until he got married. And they said, hang on, your name's not Harry Baker, it's Harry St. Baker. And so then he picked the Saint back up, and basically we're the only family that has the St. Baker. We have, my dad has some cousins and a few other relatives, but there's not many of us. There's only a couple of handfuls of us that we're aware of. And I don't know about the rest of the world, but in Australia, most of our heritage is British or Irish. So I'm not even aware of the surname over there. So yeah, that's all I can tell you.
Well, that's pretty cool. That you know a lot more than I know about my heritage because I don't know much about my dad's side. But okay, Muppet's here. I'm gonna patch in Muppet. Muppet, what up, dude?
Hey, g'day. How you going?
There we go. Yeah, we can hear you. We're live though, just so you know. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. I just got back in time and saw your message. I'm like, oh, I'll jump straight on.
That's my fault, dude. Like when I was telling everyone when I did the video or when I was like looking up the time zones, it's like, yeah, when it's 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, it's 12 p.m. in your time zone in Australia. And it looks like I was an hour off.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's confusing all the different time frames everybody's in. So.
I mean, this is truly one of the most like decentralized online investigations where people are, contributing from literally all over the world. It's insane.
Oh, it's amazing.
It is.
Because it affects all of us. I mean, it's not just a US thing. This is a worldwide problem. And even we always refer to the deep state. So their tentacles go into every country, and historically they seem to go back a long way as well. So and the world's getting smaller. With communication, with internet, with everything like that. Now we're all communicating with each other. Where 20 years ago we wouldn't be able to do this. So yeah, it affects us, and it's something that we feel we can help solve.
Yeah, and that's I'm so glad that you guys have you guys been on any well, okay, so that I don't get I'll ask you individually so that way you guys don't end up trying to answer at the same time. I'll be very specific. So Muppet, have you been on a YouTube show yet and been interviewed or been on a YouTube show yet?
Yeah, I've been on a couple. I started on Ali Top Files a few months ago. Well, been on her show a few times, and I was on with Don Jeffries on the I Protest podcast, which was that was pretty good. I enjoyed that. So Don seems like a cool guy. So yeah, but you're number 3. I've been on 3 now.
Third time will be the charm. What about you, Matt?
Yeah.
This is basically my first proper podcast. I have been on Uncle Tom's. He invited me on because we're often in each other's X spaces, and he sent me the link. And actually, it was good because I had the StreamYard already set up, which worked well for today. But yeah, so I was on his panel when they were debating Andrew Wilson.
Wait, you debated Andrew Wilson?
Well, I was part of it, or were we? I think he was doing some double streaming. So he was streaming YouTube, streaming X. So I can't even remember.
Oh, okay.
The finer details, but yeah. I mean, I've debated, well, not debated, but I've been in X spaces and spoken with Andrew Wilson a couple of times.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So when he's over there trying to like dispel any of the major red flags and issues with Turning Point and the Fed slop narrative, and he thinks he's gonna come over and like actually make it better, and it just seems to make it worse every time, in my opinion.
Well, it's not a debate, in my opinion, because he just talks his own narrative. He doesn't care what you say. He doesn't care what you believe. He has his own narrative that's been given to him and his own talking points that he'll run with, and he'll just keep running with them. So, I don't think, I think a lot of the stuff he does is for content more so than for a reasonable debate. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. I was thinking about that, like, what is the actual purpose? I don't know, man. Like some of the people that he does it with, that like him and Gary and like a bunch of the people that are on that side, there sadly seems to be a group of people that believe them and support them. I haven't met anyone in public though. I haven't met anyone in real life.
I'm with you 100%, and I think though it's the entertainment factor. So I think people tend to follow and watch them, not that they believe them or believe the slop, but sometimes people like to watch a crash out or an argument, or just people just being totally derailed. And some people find it really entertaining. So I don't know, each to their own. But people that are serious about Charlie and the truth, they don't really have much time for them, because you're not going to convince them. People come along to try and convince them to change their mind. Their mind is set in stone. They clearly get paid for the role they do, and they're not going to budge from that.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, exactly. So thanks for that, Muppet. That was a very good chime in there. So, but that's just my opinion, of course.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the sound right. Like every time I talk, I want to get it to where we all sound the same, so it's not feeding back. No, I agree. I don't think that it's like a crash site, right? Like when you drive by a car crash, a lot of people just stop and look. They want to see what happened. And I think that's kind of what it is for like Andrew Colvett and their show. They don't have good numbers. And not nearly compared to like what Charlie Kirk was doing. The best numbers they had was in just the week or so after the assassination and then during the trial. But aside from that, like when the prelim happened, aside from that, they're not doing really good numbers. But I wanted to ask, so Matt, I'll ask you and then I'll ask Muppet. What made you get involved in the Charlie Kirk assassination?
Well, pretty much. Well, I guess involved is the question, but at the time, the day it happened, I was just shocked, to be honest. I'll be totally honest with you. I had not even heard of Charlie Kirk. I didn't know who he was, but I learnt very quickly the day he was assassinated. I learnt a lot, but it hit me like that this could happen. That someone that talks in universities, that's having an open conversation, that encourages discourse, that would just get assassinated like that. And then I learned, that it was. I don't think anyone would disagree that he wouldn't have become the president one day. I don't think I've spoken to one person that hasn't agreed. It doesn't matter what side of politics, because he was such a great talker. It was just so intelligent and articulate, and he could just say everything so well. But when I knew it was a deep state hit the minute George Zinn got up, waved his hat around, and said it was him. I knew straight away, instantly. There's no way that's a lone wolf. How can it be a lone wolf? Because clearly that person didn't just organically step up and decide to say they did it, because that just does not happen. So straight away I knew it, and I was following it the whole time. I never had any platform on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or anything like that, but I followed it intently. I always had the X account that I'd had since about 2015 that I'd never used. Like, I just used it to watch the news, look up things, but I never really participated, and I never had a good feed for that reason. But then when this happened, I started following the Charlie Kirk stuff, and then it got to the point that I needed to start. I was finding things. I was picking up pieces of evidence that other people hadn't, and I wanted to get the word out. So, I opened up the account and started putting comments in. So I went and put a few comments into Candace, but then I quickly realised that her platform is so huge, there's no way in the world she's going to see, someone make a comment amongst the hundreds of thousands. So, but just evolved as I did it. And then when I really did start finding things that I wanted to make other people aware of, then I started reaching out to people, and Muppet was one of them, actually. So I found some information on Lance Twiggs. That was probably the first time I got in touch with most people. When I was coming across, because I knew that Lance Twiggs was involved, and there was just something to do with Lance Twiggs that was not making sense. And then I realised that that bullhorn guy that people early in the piece misidentified as someone called Sky Valdez. So sort of people sort of moved away from that because they realised that wasn't him, because at the time he looked like the stairwell photos when they first came out. And but then I realised that, okay, he was misidentified, but who is this Sky Valdez? And as far as I'm aware, we've never came up with a body, with a person. And the more I looked into it, and I used Grok as a tool to help me, and basically got to the point that Grok was telling me that Sky Valdez is Lance Twiggs, that it's the same person. And it gave me all the connections, it gave me all the what it used to get it all from, and the photos. So he had so he put out some songs from a band called SoundCloud, I think it was the platform.
Yeah, SoundCloud. Yep.
That's it, SoundCloud. So yeah, I don't have any of the information in front of me to refer back to, but yeah, there was a few songs that were put out. One was Charlie Kirk Dead at 31, and there was another one as well, and they were put out about 2 weeks beforehand. And I'm like, wow. And so that connected back to this guy Valdez, but then connected back to Lance Twiggs, and also some of his social media accounts. I think even the X one was pointing that way as well. So there was an X account that was his, and it got closed down the next day. Someone took up the handle the next day, which was really bizarre. But that one saw the event saying that something's going to happen tomorrow at the university, and a few of those sort of things. So yeah, that's when I reached out to Muppet, because I think when I did the online searches using AI, like Grok, for example, I was getting hits on some of Muppet's posts. And so yeah, he was one of the people that I reached out to. I also reached out to Kelly Rabon and Pia from Laissez Faire. Anyway, that got the ball rolling, because I never even DM'd anyone in X's. And then they helped me. And then I found I believe there's an injury on Charlie's stomach. So from that UVU review video, when they pick Charlie up off the ground and they're carrying him out, as they first carry him, before they turn the corner, he looks like they're carrying like a sack of potatoes. And you can see, and his shirt's pulled up, and you can see his stomach, and near his belly button area on the high resolution, when you look at the full quality video footage, it appears to me that there's a trauma injury there. Bruising, or what, it doesn't look like blood to me. So I've forever been trying to work out if there's any evidence of him having anything on his body or his stomach, particularly around his waistline, because in my view, the shirt movement always appeared to come from around his stomach area. But I haven't had any other evidence to connect that. But it could be blood, but I just find it hard to believe that it could be blood, because it was the left side of his neck that had the injury, and it spurted out. It didn't spray onto his stomach area. It sprayed to the side, because he started to lean to the side at the time, and so it would have just gone onto the ground rather than onto Charlie himself. So, and then he's gone down onto the ground, and they've picked him up. So I don't think it's plausible, in my opinion, that blood could have got to that part of his stomach. So that's why and I admit totally that the UVU review camera was a long way away. So we're zoomed in a whole long way, and it is sort of a bit of shadowing there under the tent. So unless there was some other reason, because it's so far away, that it had the appearance of an injury there, and it wasn't, but it's quite clear. You can see the skin discoloration. It's a lot darker, more sort of a purpley looking, dark browny color versus the rest of the skin of his stomach. I started reaching out, and then I'd make posts, because I had 0 followers. So like back in March, I would have had, or February, so I would have had 0 followers. And then I just started to pick up a few as I was commenting on posts and things, and then I started doing some posts, and then I just started posting videos and posting content, and then suddenly I had followers coming in, and I had a little bit of a platform, and I got to know a whole lot of people in that space, and it just evolved. It sort of steamrolled at the same time as it evolved, and I think now I've got about 6,600 followers since about March. So except at the moment my account is shadow banned, because I guess it's because of the videos that I had been posting. They were showing blood, because I was posting ones of the assassination, and I was trying to focus on posting the first quality videos, so either directly from the source or as close as possible, because the biggest problem with the investigation is people have been posting second, third, fourth hand videos. They've been getting videos from TikTok, they've been uploading them to other platforms, they've been editing them. They've been, I don't know, they've been getting up and down, loaded up and down, and they turn out to what we call potato videos, that there's so many artifacts in it that people start hallucinating and they're seeing things that aren't there. They're just not seeing things clearly. And then, anything could be possible if you start taking those types of videos seriously. So whenever anyone asks me for my opinion on anything, and it's not a really good quality video, the first thing I'll say is I can't give you an opinion. Yeah, it may look like that, but I would need to see the original video or the best quality video we can before I can give you an opinion on it, because otherwise you're wasting your own time, their time, and you may be going down a garden path that's the wrong direction. So yeah, that's sort of where it evolved, and I feel like I've made a contribution. So, and for as long as I feel like I am, I'm going to keep doing it, and I feel like we're getting somewhere, and we're solving it. We really are solving it, and we will get justice for Charlie. We will.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I agree. I think that you are making a very meaningful contribution, and so are so many people, whether they have a YouTube channel, whether they even have a big presence on X or not. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that send in tips, that write emails with information, pointing things out to, whether it's Candace Barron or other smaller creators like myself. And I do think we will get justice for Charlie. I don't know that I don't know. I go back and forth because I don't want to be negative, but it's like, and I think someone brought this up on X, and it might've been like you or Muppet. And like, what do we do? Who do we bring this stuff to? Like when we have concrete, like physical proof of even just one person that's involved, that's not, not Tyler, not the official narrative, who do we take it to?
That would have been me. I bring it up a lot. And because, you got to think, how can we solve this? So they're clearly covering it up, and they're covering it up from every angle. And I don't know what name you want to call them, because I think we often just fall back to the word deep state, and we all know what we mean. So the collective group of different government agencies all colluding together, which is what's happening. So I guess call them deep state. They're covering it up, and it's very serious, because I mean, this may go right up to the top. We don't know. No one knows, but the way that it appears is that it's covering all levels of government, and may even cross the ocean. So, but we don't know. It's speculation, but it's educated speculation too, because over the last 11 months, everyone's been looking at Charlie's history, what he's been saying, what other people have been saying. The biggest telling thing is that his own team, the people around him, the closest people to him, are not calling out to make sure that the correct person is prosecuted, and that we get proper justice for Charlie. Because in my view, if I had a loved one or anyone close to me, or a mate or anyone, I would want to make sure that they got the right person, and that the person that did it and was responsible didn't get away with it. And I think we all feel that that's not happening, which is a very concerning time, when everyone around him is stuck on the government narrative of it was Charlie Robinson on the Lacey rooftop with a 30-06. That's it. Shut the door. There's nothing to investigate. Look the other way. Let's move on with our lives. Charlie's a hero. Let's idolize him. Let's all vote, Republican, or who GPUSA says to, and that's it. And that doesn't sit well with me. And in my view, they stuffed up with their operation, because I don't think they really understood the consequences. I think they looked at things like Butler, where there was, no one actually died, and it helped Trump get support and get voted, because you do have the people that sort of feel sorry for him, and like, oh my God, he survived an assassination attempt, and oh, that's terrible, and all this sort of thing. So you tend to earn support that way. And I think they were thinking that. But what they didn't understand is, in my view, TPUSA, that word, died when Charlie died, because Charlie was TPUSA. And that's what they didn't realize. I think they thought that because he was going against their narrative and what they believed and what they wanted him to believe, which we all know what that is without even having to say it, that he was disposable, and they could just hire a whole stack of influencers, come up with the funding. They realized how important social media was for earning public support, convincing the public of a particular narrative, and paying good money to lots and lots of influencers that would just keep pounding the same thing. That repetitiveness, that that saying that if you keep saying a lie, eventually you'll believe it. And I think they're believing their own lies. But yeah, I just think they just thought they'd just find new people that could speak well like Charlie. But he's irreplaceable.
Yep.
And I think they've got to start again and rebrand and start from scratch, to be honest. And TPUSA, that the name needs to be archived with Charlie and everything that he said and all of his everything that he did.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Muppet, how about you? Let's go back to my initial question, which was, how did this affect you? And why did you get involved when you did?
Pretty much because they told me he was shot in the neck with a 30-06. That the moment they said that, I was like, no, that's just not accurate. And I've been, just that was the thing that got me involved, because from that moment I knew they were lying. And I'm old enough now I've seen these lies before from governments, and you can go back to JFK and if you want to, but it's the same thing happening again. And I'm at the point now where if we just let them get away with it, then that's on us, where we need to do a lot more than what we've done in the past to point out that these things don't add up. So that's where it started. And it's just progressively gotten bigger and bigger and bigger since then. So, but yeah, I was a bit like Matt. I had no, I think I had like 200 followers or something when I first started back in September. So it's just been a progressive build up. And after the preliminary hearing, I think we all realized that they activated their propaganda machine, because their whole story fell apart pretty much. And it doesn't appear that they've got the evidence, the mountain of evidence and the overwhelming evidence that they claim that they did. So, so now it's become a bit of an anti-propaganda war. Every time they push out their Fed slop, I want to be in their face and push back. So they can't just flood the zone anymore. And yeah, we try and get ahead of the curve a bit. So, and I think if we can point out that these guys just seem to be shills, I don't know if they get paid or not, or whether they just think they're going to get favors in the future and get the next level of Freemasonry. But they've got it all wrong. They keep pushing the same thing. They've got no new tactics, no new strategies. And yeah, I think we've all seen the results of it now. So I just want to be in their face now as much as possible. So I'm happy to do these podcasts, and I appreciate the opportunity to get me on here.
Yeah. No, I'm so glad to have both of you on here. You guys obviously recently have been getting a lot more recognition for the work you guys have been doing this whole time. And we'll get into that too, some of the different parts of your guys' investigation, which has then been pushed up to like Candace. And I think Barron too has covered you too, right, Muppet?
Yeah, the last few days, everybody gave me a shout out. It was Barron, then it was Candace, and then Coach Collins.
Coach, yeah.
And then Danks did as well with Anna. So yeah, it's gone nuts, man. In the last few days, my account doubled in followers in like pretty much overnight.
Oh
So,
wow, on X.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
gone really crazy. So apologies to anyone who follows me and sent me a DM. I'm trying to get to them all.
I'm going to read some. We got some questions here from the audience. Let me just thank you, Brandon, for the jewels. Here we got from Rooted Mountain Life saying, happy birthday. Hope you have a good day. Yeah, it was great. The reason why I keep messing with my eye is because I think I have a piece of sand in it from the beach. So, Zamet, not happy with ending his existence, now using whiteout to erase the essence of his humanity. Oh, Charlie, yeah. And what they're doing at TPUSA. And I think, you know, for all the people that want to criticize us for saying anything about Erica, I don't know that they're honest about that. Because like if they were honest, they could see like what Charlie was doing and saying, you know, over the years, but like recently since 2023, October 7th, I think that's when really this shift began to happen, as he started to speak out on a justifiable issue with Israel. Like this was one that was justified for sure. There might have been even more in the past, and we can argue that, but Charlie hadn't really said much, you know, in criticism of those in Israel in the past, but really when he went on the PBD podcast and then continually over the next 2 years, up until the last 6 months, where he really was going max and allowing his friends to go max. And then you see what like freaking Andrew Colvett, Erica Kirk, and Blake are wanting to kind of like whitewash his tomb, and make it something that it's not, saying that like he didn't oppose regime change in Iran, that he would just support Trump no matter what, that he wasn't changing on his views on Israel at all, like that he didn't change at all. They're saying that he was just a diehard supporter to the very, very end. And I think, you know, for anyone that's been watching, even people that came to this after the fact and have gone back, right, and watched what Charlie was saying, anyone that's honest will say, no, Charlie was clearly shifting in his opinions on how his historical like perspective on supporting like Israel as a biblical place that had significance in his personal relationship with Christ because he's been there, right? It meant something to him, but I don't think they're wanting us to conflate that with like the government of Israel and like these political freaking elites like Bibi, that just shouldn't even be connected. So I mean, I think we're all justified in wanting to criticize Erica and TPUSA because they're just obviously lying, you know. We got a question coming up for you and for Muppet and Matt. Just let me get this one out of the way. Thank you, Brandy Graham, for the 2 jewels. Here's a question for you, Muppet and Matt. Hi, Muppet, or this one's for Muppet. Sorry. Hi, Muppet Masher. Since you were called out on Candace and Barron, do you work directly with them behind the scenes? So shouted out, I think, would be a more proper way. I think called out is kind of like a negative. But I know what you mean, Bassie, when he was shouted out. So what's your answer, Muppet? Do you work directly with them behind the scenes?
No, absolutely not. I've never ever spoken to Candace, and I've had one DM conversation with Barron. That's as far as the relationship has ever gone.
Yeah, and what I see is they're paying attention to people on X, like Nihilo, right? Travis. Barron has picked up things from other investigators on X that post their work on X, and it gets traction. And then, you know, Candace and Barron and other creators will, you know, highlight that, you know, piece of evidence, that piece of their investigation, and shout them out. So I think that's probably how it happened, right, Muppet.
Yeah, and I have spoken to Daisy a few times in direct messages, and I've shared information with Daisy, but no, that's as far as we've ever worked together, if you want to call it that.
Jump on the fire.
Oh, and Daisy is his like mod / researcher, correct?
Yeah, researcher Daisy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she is a very good researcher. I just want to put that in.
She is, yeah. I wonder, like, was she some sort of researcher before all this?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where researcher Daisy came from. But from the conversations I've had just in DMs on X, she's very, very intelligent.
Yeah.
And she knows her stuff really well. So.
Yeah. Mystic, happy birthday, BLB. Hope it's the best. We love you, dude. Thank you so much, Mystic. Good to see you. Love you too, and love this community. Thank you, DK Liberty. And then we got one more. We got a Big Doggy Mitch. That's a funny one. Big Doggy Mitch. Or Big Dog Mitch. Big Dog Mitch. Thank you for the jewels. And then Muppet, thank you for wait. Is this you, Muppet, or no?
Yeah, that was me.
The real Muppet Masher?
Yeah, I do have a YouTube channel, but
Okay.
I haven't done anything with it yet. I think that conversation I had with Phil Lyman, I'm pretty sure that's on there. I broke it up into 4 parts so people didn't have to listen to Phil Lyman for too long. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got on there. But I do plan on making a few other videos with all the identifications that we've made and put them on my YouTube channel at some point. But
yeah, one of the things I'm planning on doing is I haven't had a chance yet. But also, I mean, I'm trying to get comfortable with this set. Sorry, guys. If I'm moving around a lot, it's because I'm trying to find the best way to sit where I'm not like so far away and it's like propped up. So I've never done a show from a hotel room before. So I'm trying to find it and be comfortable where I can reach everything. So okay. Candace reported that she got a slew of tips that Alan Robertson, not necessarily a bad guy. She actually got a lot of reports that he's a good guy. Did I hear her right yesterday?
yeah, probably. I've never claimed that he was a bad guy at all. He's just a plainclothes policeman from Utah State University who was there with either his partner or his friend from the same department. They're both plainclothes. They were both up on the platform where the UVU review camera was mounted, where they were filming from there.
Yep.
And that's where they were when the Big Bang went off. And I do need to point out that neither of them turned and looked at the Losi building when the Big Bang went off. Neither of them ran towards the Losi building like that's where they just heard the sound come from. And both of them rushed down towards the tent where Charlie was. You can actually see one of them on Phil Lyman's video runs past Phil and runs down through the Sorensen building. And look, I think he goes down the internal stairs and pops out near the fountain. And then you see them down near the tent doing all this. Looks like they're sort of taking control of the scene, which is weird. But they're police officers. They had their badge and their service weapon with them. So I guess people paint their own picture of what that means. But I think Candace was referring to the fact that Charlie was going to their university later in the month, and they might have just been doing like a threat assessment on what it looks like having a Charlie event, and doing a bit of preparation for having Charlie at their own university. So there is potential reasons why they're there. Well, they may have just been off duty and heard Charlie was coming to town and wanted to go watch. But
yeah,
the role that they played afterwards is very odd, I must admit. Like I don't know. I still don't know what they're actually searching for on the terraces. They're all walking around looking really intently. If it's a weapon there, it's obviously you're going to see a weapon. You don't need to sort of scour the grass looking for a weapon. So I don't know. It's all very. We'll get to the bottom of it at one point, but yeah, at least we know who they are now. And that I was need to point out too, that original identification of those two plainclothes officers came from the X account JJ.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't originally identify them. I just made collages, and then everyone's given me credit for identifying them. But those particular IDs came from JJ.
Yep. 1 second. Hey, Muppet, I don't know, Matt might hear it or not. When you speak, there's like this ruffling that comes in with it. I don't know if you're using headphones or not, but I don't know. Yeah. Do you hear it, Matt?
It's not too bad. It's
Okay.
not too bad.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right. If it's not that bad, then we can. Then you don't need to do anything, Muppet. Okay, so going back, and then I'm going to ask Matt a question about those guys. So those of you that have seen the UVU review video, it's being filmed from, like, if I'm Charlie, it's up there on this like balcony terrace area, and they're like right up against like this bar kind of like fence, which like overlooks the amphitheater down below. And you're right. One of the is it somebody else's cell phone footage right after that captures, I think it's Alan in the red hat, and he like pulls his sidearm and he starts running, right?
Yeah, that's on KSL or KTV, one of their media guys. Because they're up there as well. There was a couple of different media groups that were on that same balcony. And I think most of those photos have either come from Deseret News, KT, or KSL.
Yeah.
The Salt Lake Tribune was the other one media company that was there. So
yes, that's right.
They had a few crew.
So we're like a bunch of news up there in that same area.
Yeah, there was at least three that I know of that were up with pretty much on the same platform where the UVU review camera was.
Yeah, and I was just re-watching the UVU review and the Adam Bartholomew before we got on, so in case we needed to like point at a couple things. And it was a student, correct? A college student handling the UVU review video.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
It's like a student-led news thing for UVU. He was doing the most with that camera in the beginning. Like, he couldn't get it situated and like leave it alone. He's like constantly adjusting it, moving it around. Yeah, it was driving me nuts.
in my view, it was the first time he'd used it. So I think it was. I could be wrong, but I think it was early in their course, and this event came up, and and it's. I think they're volunteers, so it's the newspaper for the university. But I think the ones that
they're not as amateur as you would think. I'm not going to name them, but the two guys who are operating the cameras have been with UV Review for quite a while. I'd push back and say they definitely would have used that camera in the past. Maybe not at such a big event, but I don't think they're as amateur as people might think. They are students, but they've been doing it for a while.
I'm basing that off just the way he took the footage. I don't think it was overly professional, or that he was overly experienced in using the equipment. But I don't know about that particular cameraman, but I did look into a few of the other people in the video review that were quite new. That's all.
And can I just add in there, you've got also Moyo DeSalo, who's a content creator. She was that black lady who's down right next to Terrell Farnsworth when Hunter is speaking.
Yes.
And she's also from UVU Review. And she's been with them for a while as well. So they did have some experienced content creators there. But I do agree where they mounted their camera was a long way away. And they had a lot of audio issues. They were trying to get the audio dialed in and synced up with the camera, I think. So yeah, I guess there is some signs of being amateur setup. But
well, they had trouble keeping it still. The camera was wobbling, or it was all over the place. It just, unless they were getting bumped in the crowd, but I just feel that I don't know, if they had it set up on the tripod and it was all done properly. I mean, maybe it was just rushed, but it just wasn't as professional as I thought it could be, even if they were inexperienced. But I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. That's all.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, it's not the greatest footage, is it?
Well, if you try and zoom in, so what I tried to do was pick one of the people behind Charlie or next to Charlie. So, you can randomly say any names, just say Mikey McCoy, for instance. And well, actually, if you go for someone that was actually behind more, that was moving around a bit, I was trying to focus in on them and zoom in and then screen record to get just close up, better footage of them. And the camera, the the whole screen just moved around so much. It was so hard to get a really good zoomed in screen recording. And where if it was on a tripod that wasn't getting bumped and would stay still, then the camera wouldn't have been moving all over the place, and you'd be able to do that. So that's particularly where I noticed it, and it was constant throughout the video.
I do have to say, I found it very odd that UVU Review don't have the footage of Charlie arriving, throwing the hats, and the whole crowd cheering and going off and chanting USA. They don't seem to have that. Not from that particular camera, apparently. So I find that really odd, because that was like the highlight.
It was, and in hindsight, but hindsight's a beautiful thing. But I put it back down to them being inexperienced, so they would have been rushed for time. They weren't prepared. They didn't know what to expect. So I just think maybe they had issues setting it up, and I do believe that is when they did start recording on that camera, because I've looked at it from other footage to see when they're there and when they've started recording. So I just think it's a little bit of unorganisation as well. I do think it was a good spot to have recorded from. I mean, we do, that does give the best footage, overall footage out of any camera. So, I mean, it was a good spot. They probably could have had another camera on a tripod somewhere else, but I know they had a few mobile people, but, or did they, Muppet? So there was some people with phones. Was there with a proper camera that was mobile that we're aware of? Because I'm not.
Yeah, there was a couple of press guys there, and I'm not sure exactly what cameras they had. But
I'm specifically referring to the UVU review team that are a part of the university group, the volunteers.
I think that was the only stationary camera, and then they had their content creators getting video.
Yeah, but that was on their iPhones, right?
Yeah.
I think that was on their iPhone, yeah. That's what I was saying, yeah. But another one would have been good. But they obviously, no one knew what was going to come of that day, did they? And TPUSA had all their cameras. So, assuming that in a normal situation, that footage would come out and become public, it's more for TPUSA's benefit rather than the university themselves, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Matt, will you do me a favor? Because Muppet and my mic is a certain volume and yours is soft. It's like soft. I don't know if it's further away from you. Will you try to keep it closer if you can, so that there's not this huge fluctuation? Because I'm having to manually, like when you talk, I have to turn it up. And then when Muppet talks, I have to turn it back down so that it's not this huge difference. You know what I mean? Uh-oh, did I lose you? Hopefully I didn't lose you.
I've still got you.
Okay.
I'm here. What I've done, I've just removed my
I'm a little bit
earpods.
Suspicious on the way that they actually filmed it and where the cameras were mounted, and it did create some blind spots in the audience, and there's so much footage missing. Like, you see how many people have their phone out taking video and pictures, and there's a lot of different media groups that were there on the day, and we haven't seen all their footage. I think Andrew Ferrasi's videos and pictures would be highly valuable. We've never seen any of those. I think he released one picture. So yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of pictures and video that we still haven't seen.
Yeah, that we've never seen. Yeah, I think you're good now, Matt.
Yeah, I just wanted to check the sound now. So what I did, I removed my earpods. I'm just using the speaker now. Is that any better?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. It's just one of those things. We're all streaming from different places using different types of devices and getting it dialed in. So you're good. I agree, you guys, that Muppet, to point out the UV review video, I don't know that even an inexperienced college student cameraman, their first course, would do that much moving, shaking, zooming in, zooming out, tilting to the right, tilting to the left of a video. Like, it's just like, we all grow up with phones in this day and age with technology. I don't know how even the most inexperienced person could say that was all on accident. I'm suspicious of why they did what they did with that camera. It's really weird. And then I am too. I totally agree that we don't have. What would you guys say a percentage of what video is actually available compared to what is still out there?
I think we've probably seen 10%.
Yes, that's the number I was going to say.
Yeah.
What about you, Matt?
There's heaps.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I don't know. I mean, I hadn't really tried to count all the different types of footage and where it came from, but I would say there's a lot of content out there still to come in. And I think the big issue is that, when Charlie got there, he said to the crowd, that he's going to be doing it for 2 to 3 hours from memory. So he basically said, get yourselves comfortable, lock yourselves in. It's going to be a long afternoon and we're going to get through a lot. And so people aren't going to want to film 2 hours of questions to Charlie. They're just going to, film a bit here and film a bit there. And, because that's just what you do. It's like if you go to a football game, you don't film the whole game, but you might just film a few little bits, or if he gets asked an interesting question, they might film that. So the point is that the people that were filming at the time of the assassination, I mean, everyone had a camera. Not everyone might have filmed something, but
right.
A lot of people, I'd say a lot of people would have at least taken a few photos or a little bit of video. But I think that the people that weren't filming at the time of the assassination but had other footage don't understand that it's of value to us.
That's a good point. Valuable. Filming the lead up, like even just if they're filming each other, their friends, they're taking photos and selfies. They could have, that's where Tyler Robinson talking to TPUSA could be.
Exactly. So, there could have been people there that were nice and early that might have just taken a couple of photos or a quick 10-second video of, oh, here I am. This is them setting up. We don't know that there's not video footage out there, and the people that have it don't realize that it is. And now I've been in direct contact with a few people there that day, specifically asking them for that. Hey, what other footage have you got? What did you take? And so specifically asked them, and they're like, oh yeah, no, I've looked at that 100 times. No, there's nothing there that you'd be interested in. And
no, you don't know.
We want everything. Exactly. And so I've said that to a few other people. I'm trying to chase down someone that has footage of George Zinn getting brought through the tunnel, because someone. No, actually, I'm not going to name names or say anything, but I have a contact of someone very connected to another contact that said, oh, that is so and so, and this person I'm talking about was filming, and I'm like, well, where's their footage? Oh yeah, but like they don't they don't think that anyone would be interested in it. I'm like, yes, please. Can you speak?
You know who got the best footage of that was Tess Crowley from Deseret News, female photographer, videographer. She's right in the front rows. She got the best footage of George Zinn getting taken through the tunnel. I don't want to try and accuse her of anything, but she is probably the best action photographer on the day after the incident. She did run and hide a little bit and duck for cover, but then apparently just whipped out her camera and started taking people pictures that were like literally still falling into the fountain. And then she was right behind the tent. She was squatting down, and George Zinn and the two police walked like directly past her as she's taking video. So she's got a lot of footage that we haven't seen.
So she hasn't released any of that publicly?
Some of it, but mostly in still frame photos, I think. So she was doing video or not.
So I think all the big news outlets that were there that day would have footage that they don't use because it's just normal that you would. But it would be nice if they could just release them so that we can all look into it, because it's amazing what we find in the background of footage, and we can put puzzle pieces together. And then there's other people like I think Andrew Ferrasi is one that you've often mentioned that may have the footage or be able to release the footage, but is reluctant to, or is using the excuse that he doesn't have access to it all. I'm not sure, but there's still a lot of footage to come out without counting the main TPUSA cameras, which we 100% need to be released as well. But
they'll never let those out.
Yeah, we might have to wait till after the trial, and of course, because they don't want to incriminate themselves or whoever is responsible who they're covering up for.
There's five 4K cameras from TPUSA that filmed the entire thing, and we haven't seen any footage from any of it.
From like 4 feet away.
And Andrew Ferrasi's photos and videos that he took from, because he was there really early, and took photos of them setting up, and as the crowd was building up, he was up on the Hall of Flags rooftop walkway taking video. We've never seen. He's got probably the most valuable high-res video and pictures that we would really, really love to see. And I spent a couple of weeks talking to him, trying to convince him that we just want to see it for investigation purposes. I don't want to publish them. I'm not interested in getting clicks and likes. I just wanted to see it for those reasons, that we can see what's happening in the crowd and who's in the crowd. And he just refused bluntly. He just, in the end, he became pretty arrogant with me, and we had a bit of a falling out. So.
Is Andrew Ferrasi the executive assistant of Charlie? He's got like really blonde hair. He was on the Charlie Kirk show.
No, that's Nate Walker. No, Andrew Ferrasi's freelance photographer that they hired for the day. He's the big guy, solid guy in brown shirt. He's right next to, right behind Frank Turek when it goes off. The big bang goes off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have we seen any of his footage?
He released one photo that apparently TPUSA put out, and his excuse is that he's trying to protect Erica. That was his first excuse.
Protect her from what? What would a video or a photograph do to hurt Erica?
And then he tried to say that he had an NDA and didn't have the rights to put the videos or footage out. And then I argued with him because I've done freelance photography in the past, and if you take a photo or video from your camera, you own that footage. That's your
until footage. You sell it to someone.
Yes. Yeah. If you sell exclusive rights to somebody, then that's. But but he hadn't done that. So he still.
Muppet, I just want to say though that if he is contracted as a contractor. So if he's hired to come in and take the footage for the day,
Yeah.
it might be argued that it's their footage, the people that contracted him to do it, because he wasn't a freelancer that just went on his own will to do it and then tried to sell the footage or make money from it somehow. He was actually hired to go there and do it. He might have used his own equipment or not, but I don't know. So maybe it could be argued that he doesn't have the ownership to it, but often people would have dual ownership too. But I guess then there's conflicts when it comes to, like the press or companies that publish it, that want the publishing rights, because it will devalue their product if other people can publish it. When they want
I even offered to buy his footage off him and buy his pictures, and he just refused. So,
but I mean,
and
is it is to sell? That's the thing. Like, who
it is.
technically
It
owns
is.
it? I don't
In
know.
the end, he agreed with that. Yeah, he just refused to do it. He just didn't want them out. So, but he did tell me that he gave his pictures to the police, and the police do have his pictures and his images that he took that day. So I can only take him on. No, I can only take him on his word. If you look on Adam Bartholomew's video, he does approach one of the. It's a bald policeman. I'm still trying to get his name. He does approach him in that video. If you turn it right up, you can actually sort of half hear him saying that I've got pictures and a video that you might want to see. So I give him the benefit of the doubt that he did hand them over to the police or give police access to them. But he still has them, and he just will not share them, even just for investigation purposes. I even offered to sign an NDA just if he showed me them. And that didn't happen either. So
he said no. And the same with George McClintock Wilson. He said that he's, provided all of the photos from that day except one. I don't know. I don't know if I believe him that that's the only one that he hasn't released. And it supposedly is the one that Barron has seen, Brandy and Billy has seen, and they all kind of testified to the gruesome nature of it, that you can see Charlie's face. And that's why he said he hasn't released it. But in this, I don't know if you guys will see eye to eye to me on this one. I think that would be important to see because so many people are claiming Charlie Kirk's alive. And
yeah, absolutely.
By that photo, so from what Brandy and Billy and George McClintock Wilson and even Baron Coleman say, you can tell, he's not there. I guess people, you know what though, people would say it's a photograph. They would say that doesn't prove anything. He could just be staring past. But from what I've read and into the different statements from these individuals who have seen it, that the eyes are fixed, open, pupils are dilated, and doesn't seem to have any movement.
As Brian Harpole explained, he had doll eyes.
Yeah. I think there's parts, part of every good psyop and misinformation campaign is going to have true information in it. I think that's the best of them do, right? It's 50-50. I don't know. Maybe it's a different variation of the two, but not everything they said is a lie. Most of it's a lie, but there's some little pieces of truth in there. And I mean, from watching the video, I don't think Charlie survived,
I agree with you, Matt. And I have a slightly different angle on the release of that photo. I personally think that with the footage that is available, it's pretty clear that Charlie died. He wouldn't have survived it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going down that path of that he could be alive. I mean, I think people are trying to use it also as leverage to try and get the autopsy report released or the medical examiner's report released or just more information along that lineage. But I think the other people are more in the lineage that they just don't want to believe he's dead, and they just want to believe that he's alive, and they're just holding on to that last thread
Yeah.
of belief, you know. But I think, in my view, this possibly a reason why that last photo hasn't been released. And I personally believe that TPUSA are not letting Charles release it. Like, I think they're a little bit involved with some stuff. I've picked up hints that he may have some other footage as well that he's told not to release.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason that particular photo is, it shows potentially injuries to his body that is not from a gunshot wound to the neck. Now, if that's released, it blows their whole operation up. And that's the reason why I believe it's not getting released.
Yeah.
Because it goes against the government narrative of proving an injury to the body other than the neck.
Yeah, and I want to go back to that because it was either from Muppet or you that was talking about it early on. I think it was you when you were saying like how you got involved in this, and that when looking at the UVU review video, and I've seen it, I think we all have, well, not everyone, but it's on X. I can't show it here. If you've seen it, you know why. They pull up his body, but they pull up his shirt with it. And when that happens, it reveals his abdomen, right? It kind of pulls up above, like right around his sternum. So you can see like his belly, and you can see his like lower left side and on his right. And I agree with you. They carry him like a sack of potatoes. It was really bad. But you do see what looks to be either burns, bruising, abrasions, or a mixture of the three. And I'm pretty sure like Mitch Snow believes that there was something down on the belt area. There's no belt. It's a less elastic, like sweat pants kind of, you know, like scrub pants, but they're not sweats, but they're like, you know, athletic leisure wear pants. They're elastic waistbands. The only thing that's hard for me about that is that when he's throwing out the hats, you can see at least twice, you can see his like little dad belly as he's throwing it out. His shirt puffs up. You don't get to see the entire belly, and you can't see further up the belly, but you see the waistband in the front, and there doesn't seem to be anything attached. But I do also agree that I see the arguments. I don't necessarily hold to them. I'm much more in John Bray's camp with the mic, the exploding mic, but I can see why people believe, and I can see why there's arguments that the initial energy and the movement originates down below. I can see that, as it looks like it's like shooting up from straight below, right? Is that kind of what made you think that there's something down there and shooting up?
No, I agree with everything you've just said 100%. Well, I base everything on facts. I try to stick directly to facts, visual evidence, photographic evidence. So, yes, I had, so there's visual evidence of the movement of the shirt, which I believe is before the injury to the neck, because the shirt itself blocks the injury to the neck. It blocks you being able to see it. So definitely there's the movement shirt. There's his necklace, spring shots around his neck.
Yep.
That's before the bullet wound.
Correct.
So then I saw the injury on his stomach, and I'm with you about his waist. I have struggled to find any evidence of anything on his body other than the necklace and the pendant, the cross pendant, and the road mic. And after speaking with John Bray in a space the other night, I'm probably more inclined to think that it was the road mic rather than the pendant. And the reason was that I always struggled with was the neck injury, thinking that that's the only injury from the road mic. But he did make it clear that the shape charge would have gone directly into his body from where the road mic is. And that's what I needed to
get confirmation off him from.
Yes.
And when he did confirm that, then yes, then that makes way more sense, because it was always to mimic a gunshot, and the
correct.
neck wound wasn't expected. That was just a byproduct.
Did he explain to you that he actually thinks that the shape charge did penetrate? And in fact, he's done a video analysis of the colors on the video that captures him, the back of Charlie. And there's a area almost like, so if it goes in this side, almost like directly center, maybe a little bit to the right, the white shirt shifts to red. And he's done this whole video analysis on this one area that looks like some matter or blood began to stain the shirt on the backside, and that he believes that some of the shape charge did actually, did he explain that?
Yeah. I think he did a bit, but I agree with that. And I've seen that. I've seen his work anyway, so I've seen him do that. But someone had a post the other day on that video that Candace released from behind Charlie, that they picked up some blood. I'm not sure if they just had a better resolution screenshot, or whether it was enhanced in any way, but I wanted to look into that further, but it was right down the bottom that they were pretty adamant that they could see some blood there, which makes sense, and that's in alignment with what you're saying now about what John is saying. But yeah, that's and the other question I had to John was, I was sort of trying to work out that I was thinking maybe the chain broke where the pendant was, because it's just so long. So when it whips around his neck so quickly like that and hangs down the other side, it just seems so long. And I thought, well, if the shape charge did it, but he convinced me, and he's very particular about measurements and accuracy and all that technical stuff. You can't really fault him. He's very, very thorough. So he made it very clear that the chain broke at the particular spot near there, and the length did match. So
correct.
So yeah, he convinced me that it is most likely the road mic. Yeah.
Yeah, and think about this too, that like so from what I've seen as well is that it breaks right around this area. I don't know if you guys can see my video. Like, so if the road mic is here, the chain breaks around this area, give or take a little bit up or down. But as it's flying, it's actually like pulling on the necklace, and the only thing on the inside is the clasp, and the part where the pendant is what stays connected on the inside of the shirt. And as it's flying, it's actually pulling on, it's getting bigger as it comes across, like a little bit longer. And then as they carry him, that's why it looks like it's dangling, because it's the only thing that's hanging on the inside of that collar would be the part where the cross is. And that's why it's like almost all of it by the time they get to the car.
Yeah, I agree totally. And that explains the extra length, because the chain is gaining length behind him from both sides of where it snapped. So yes, it's coming up from where the cross was. That's coming up towards his left shoulder. At the same time, the other chain is going right around him. So it's doubling the speed in which it grows in length, which totally explains it. So I agree 100% that that's what was happening. And I also agree that we can't find anything on his stomach. I also saw that video. It just shows a little bit of belly fat there, and there's just no evidence. So we can only deal with evidence, otherwise it's speculation, and then that gets sort of messy. So if we stick with evidence only, I think it'll help us keep near and work out what really happened.
Muppet, what were you going to say?
Yeah, no, I agree with the necklace. That's how I explain the necklace as well. Just it goes full length, and it's pretty much just the cross that's caught up in his collar that stops it. I'm not totally on board with the exploding mic. It does explain a hell of a lot, but if you want to believe the autopsy reports that we've got, just the little fragments that we've gotten out of it so far, says the spine, the C2 to C7, is damaged or obliterated on the left-hand side. So I don't know, just logic would tell me that if his mic exploded on his right, near his right collarbone, then a lot of the damage would be on the right side of his spine as well. I don't see how all the damage can transfer just to the left-hand side of the vertebrae. That's just the bit that I've got. So.
I struggle with that a little bit as well.
Yeah.
But the thing is, too, it's not. So this is what I asked John about: is like what enters the body. So it's not like all these fragments of metal enter his body.
Correct.
It's actually
it's a jet of plasma that cuts through like so anything. It may have metal fragments in it, but it's actually cutting through like plasma.
Yep.
That's what
So we don't know exactly what it's doing inside his body, and it appears to be doing a lot, like an explosion within his body. So, I don't think we can conclusively say that it couldn't have done it because of the left side of the. Yeah,
I'm actually more leaning towards a drone theory, whether he was actually shot from a drone or hit from a drone with some sort of electromagnetic frequency weapon, like a direct energy weapon of some sort from a drone, and that may have triggered the microphone to do some crazy shit. But I'm leaning towards more drone theory at the moment.
There could be other technology connected with the mic.
Yes.
So,
yes.
and I also have always said it could be technology that we don't know exists, which makes it really hard for us to speculate because, they've got advanced stuff going on that we don't know about.
Yep.
That's for sure.
Yep. Let me catch up on a couple of these supers because we got some questions. Zamet said, "Are we still talking about Charlie Kirk? You damn well better believe it." Yeah. Oh, because was somebody saying, "Are we still talking about Charlie Kirk today?"
No, he's having a go at Trump. Are you still talking about those files? Remember?
Oh, good point. Good point. Yes.
So, and he's like, "Yes, of course we are. You better believe it."
Yes. Yes. Good point. We got Real Marie Blonde. Happy birthday, Matt. You're doing great work to bring justice for Charlie Kirk, and excited to follow your journey. God bless you, your family, and the Black Line Brief crew. Thank you so much, Real Marie Blonde. And then we got Zamet. Okay, who was the student that was stopped by someone from giving interview at the right rear of the tent? Let me take that, please, because I actually wanted to bring this up. So, wait. The person that I believe that was stopped giving an interview was Jeb Jacoby, but it was on the inside of the building. Is there another student on the outside of that was near the right rear of the tent? Do you guys know of another student that was stopped from giving an interview?
Yeah, look, I think I could be wrong, so we'll cover both bases so his question gets answered correctly.
Okay.
So there was some TikToks going around about someone that was asked to delete their footage, saying that the FBI asked them to delete their footage, that sort of thing. And
yes, I've seen that. He's an older guy.
So he may, if he's referring to that, I can answer that one quite well. I can say
a student. You're talking about a student getting interrupted, wasn't
he? Yeah. You just repeat the question again.
Okay. So the question is, who was the student that was stopped by someone from giving an interview at the rear right of the tent?
I don't know about the rear right of the tent. I don't know about that one.
He's talking about Jacoby.
Sounds like Jeb Jacoby.
Yeah. So let me take this real quick because there's another thing I want to talk about because you guys also know about Phil Lyman. And then this will bring us into the video where he's like choreographing it, but someone else is filming it and they catch them practicing it. And Phil Lyman's like mouthing the words. there's another podcaster that just had Jeb Jacoby on, Ian Wendt, which so in this gentleman, he is LDS and he also used to work for TPUSA and like has relationships with people at TPUSA, says that he's invested in this investigation and wants to put himself forward as like, I don't know, someone that knows something, and that like, because he attacked Meech and he's done some other stuff that I think is questionable. But I don't know how anyone at this late in the game could not know who Jeb Jacoby is and not know the controversy surrounding Jeb Jacoby, right? Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I've known who Jeb Jacoby was since like October.
Baron Coleman did a whole breakdown video on it. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But he did mention a few things which were interesting in that interview, actually.
That's true.
Yeah.
You want to say them?
Well, yeah, he pointed out a few people. Just trying to remember now, but one offered to. I think he was walking out with one, and he was an ex-military guy. And I'm just trying to remember now. There was a handful of things, but I'd have to refer back to my notes. So
that Jeb pointed out, though, right? Jeb said some interesting things in that interview that he hasn't said before, correct?
Some very interesting things. Yeah.
My memory will come back as we're talking, but yes, you're 100% correct.
Do you remember?
I think I've seen I think I've seen every minute of Jeb Jacoby's that day and what he's done afterwards.
Yep.
The very first one I thought was interesting, the one he did with Hunter Kozak.
Mm-hmm.
What was that? 60 Minutes, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. But that recent one, I found that on YouTube. Came up on my YouTube feed just by random. I probably searched him a few times. And yeah, that popped up and it had like 50 views when I first saw that latest podcast interview that he did.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, holy crap. And then I watched it and I was like, oh, wow. He's saying stuff in there that we've never heard before about being told not to talk to the press and like being coached beforehand that don't talk to any press at all, any media. And yeah, there was a few things.
But that's actually standard, believe it or not. So when speaking with Matthew Tuzzaroni and Meech, part of people's like onboarding training at TPUSA, like that's one of the things they're all told to do. So imagine if they go to a college where there's chapter leads or people that are a part of that chapter, but aren't necessarily employees. And so haven't had an instance to receive this training. And they know this is a big event and that even if nothing negative happens, like even if it's just a bunch of crazy leftists say things and then Charlie has back and forth with them, they're going to grab all these kids together, which you could see they did. When Charlie arrives, he meets with all of the students that are like part of that chapter. Jeb's back there. It's when Charlie's SUV arrives. He does like a little meet and greet with them. I guarantee you there's people that were ahead of Charlie that like met with them, was going to tell them who's going to do what, who's going to be at the mic and, be the mic person, where everyone else can be, where they can help, and then do's and don'ts.
There is, yeah.
Do's
they
and
did a little meet and greet. Yeah, I've got, I'm not sure if you've seen it. There was a video that was taken by Phil Lyman, and it's the volunteers in the tunnel before Charlie arrives. It's actually 11:43 is the timestamp on the video. And all the volunteers are in a little huddle getting their group photo taken. And they're doing their Wolverine sign. Yep. And yeah, you can see Cooper Brown and they're all in there. So
yeah, so I don't find it necessarily suspicious that Jeb said that for that event, they were kind of told in advance to not talk to any press. I mean, any big organization, especially like with Charlie there, regardless of the outcome of the event, these kids aren't employees. So they haven't had their formal onboarding HR, like PR training conversation where they're told, like, we don't talk with, the press. You guys aren't approved to talk. There could be something necessarily unique, obviously, to that day because of what ended up happening. But I think by itself, I didn't find that suspicious that TPUSA told them
you're right. Yeah,
not to
I
speak.
agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to go back real quick, so Jeb Jacoby, so keep this in mind, guys. The people in the red shirts that stopped him inside when Adam Bartholomew was filming him and handed in the mic would be part of the group of people that were there that got that briefing not to give interviews. And Jeb even admitted to it. He admitted it on Ian Went. Beforehand, they were all told in that group not to give interviews and speak to the press. What does Jeb do immediately after the assassination? He runs around and gets on as many cameras as he can. And in fact, I think Matt or Muppet, the Phil Lyman one happened first, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Outside, up to the left on the amphitheater, to Charlie's left.
Correct.
Yeah, just outside the doors of where the second one is where Cooper Brown stops him. Yeah.
Correct.
And Phil Lyman is listening and nodding his head as in, yep, that's
and
correct. That's correct. You're saying it all correctly. Like that's, I don't know, that's the way I was interpreting it.
And he's lip reading it. Actually, they do a dry run, which is what Barron showed, right? Because there's someone else like filming, right? And there's other people there. There's like a lady there, and they like practice. And then the lady's like, okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Yes.
And then he says it for the camera. And then Phil, you can see it. It's subtle. He's lipping. He's moving his lips word for word what Jeb ends up saying.
Yeah. I believe that. That's what I believe happened from how I viewed it.
And
that's clear how it happened. You see it, like you just said, you see it from that other view just before the one that we have seen. And you see him coach him do it. So, and also too, just in that video, there's another policeman who walks past Phil Lyman with his badge out, and he's another one that I'm trying to identify. It's hard to get a clear image of him, but he's another plainclothes policeman with a badge walking straight past.
You know who else walks out, and it's very hard to see, but I did spot it in the slow motion camera, is Andrew Pastiglio. He walks out.
Piscadlo.
Them,
he comes out of there as well.
He comes out and walks that way.
Yeah, and he walks straight past Phil, and him and Phil know each other really, really well.
But why is he walking back out that way? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And then not long after that, we hear that apparently he was driving around to the hospitals looking for Charlie with a gun or something. That sort of doesn't make sense to me. But it was called out over the radio, the police radio, and the police had spoken to him, but they didn't. So they detained him, but they didn't arrest him or didn't charge him or something. So that's what I find interesting.
Wait, isn't that
just for your viewers? That's Bionic Man with the glove.
Okay, yes. So the guy with the hand is Andrew Pastiglio, right? And he's got that black bionic hand. And he also did an interview with, was it Channel 5 or somebody after the fact? And then, but no, I thought the dude running around with a gun looking for Charlie in the hospitals was that other guy.
Qureshi.
It was originally reported that it was Zach Qureshi that was going hospital to hospital, but Barron corrected himself, and it turned out it was Andrew Piscadlo that was looking for Charlie, apparently.
So
and
it was
I think that's
both of them.
Whoa!
Yeah,
it was officially.
And then I believe that's why he was questioned by the police from those reports of him going hospital to hospital. That's what they said, looking for Charlie after the incident. So that turned out to be Andrew.
But he didn't have the gun. Like in those stories, did Andrew have a weapon or no? Just Zach Qureshi had a weapon?
We don't know. None of it adds up. None of it makes sense. It really doesn't. And there's no more collaborative information, and a lot of it's all based off the police radio calls that people had fired. So it's really bizarre. But they were based, and even Phil Lyman said in his interview in the morning of the next day when it was brought up, talking about George Zinn, and he's like, "Yeah, I know him," and then the commentator was really surprised. He goes, "Really, you know him?" And he's like, "Yeah, he's very much into the political this and that, and yeah, we know him." And then Phil brought up the second patsy, and he goes, "Yeah, I know the second patsy as well," and he was talking about Andrew Pisciclio, and I found that quite. That's right. Muppet always corrects me, Piscadlo. I can't say the name.
It's all good.
And so we found that quite telling, because it was always Korechi who was the other patsy. But so obviously I think they had a handful of patsies that day. I think they had a handful. They had backup.
Yeah, Zach Koreshi and Andrew Piscadlo know each other too, by the way. And Andrew and Phil Lyman know each other very well. Andrew Piscadlo was actually he ran for different council positions. He's in politics. He's in the same circle as Phil Lyman.
Yeah. And keep in mind, everybody, Phil Lyman, and then I'm going to get back to answering your question, Zamet. Phil Lyman is the gentleman whose family basically owns most of that block where the Ring doorbell camera footage comes from. He said like most of his family owns like multiple houses on that street, and that it's one of his family members' house that is the one that gave that Ring doorbell camera footage of the, Eagle Boy limping down the street. Right. And to go back, so Jeb Jacoby does that BS interview with Phil Lyman mouthing it. And then he goes inside, and then he's going to give another interview with another person that, at least in this investigation, has
Adam Bartholomew.
Yes, Life is Driving Adam Bartholomew, and he is questionable too. Would you guys say that there's at least suspicion surrounding him?
Yes,
there is. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is, but
correct.
I think that at a minimum, in my view, he was told to be at certain places at certain times, and I think that he was meant to be on top of the floor of the Hall of Flags at the time, interviewing the protesters, because that was the narrative. The narrative was it was a trans leftist, whatever. And the protesters, I believe that those protesters weren't organic.
No.
I personally believe that there was, how do I explain it? But behind the scenes, there was work going on to get Unfuck America's group. They're protesting. Hunter Kozak was connected to it. They've removed that off the internet. Now, if it was all innocent, why do you even remove that off the internet?
Right.
The fact that he was a speaker, and I think the first batch of speakers had a connection there. They were live streaming at the time. Destiny was live streaming it, and Z jumps in at the time and says, "Oh, we're effed." And then they try and cover it up, but we know that they know something. Now, they might not have known Charlie was going to be assassinated, but they knew something. Like, they might have been told somehow through some connection to create some discourse, to go there and protest and cause trouble for Charlie. Maybe not knowing that he was going to be assassinated, but things happen behind the scenes, and so I think that they did have some involvement, whether they knew or not. But I think that's what a patsy is. A patsy doesn't know that he's involved. So
100%.
I believe there's some involvement there, and so that's why I believe Adam Bartholomew was supposed to be there at that time interviewing them, because it works well with the government narrative. Plus, being there, he's not going to have direct view of the Lacey roof, and for a few other reasons. So, and even his footage beforehand, I think they said, you can walk up around there and go here and whatever. But while I think of it too, I also did notice in his video, the police officer, the undercover one with the light blue shirt, the one that was a bit fatter, a bit chubbier.
Yes,
he is. You can actually catch a snippet of him walking around the Locy Centre, which is interesting. So he was walking between the Locy and the Sorensen Centre about 11 minutes before the assassination. So the fact that they were lingering around up there, I don't know. I just find that interesting, but I also find it interesting that no one looked towards the Lawrence and the
Losey Center,
the Lacey Center roof. No one looked that way. So no one. I don't believe anyone heard the gunshot going from there.
Which makes Phil Lyman's statement even more suspicious, that from inside of the building, the Sorensen building, as he's exiting those double bay doors, that he's distinctly heard what sounded like a larger caliber rifle shot from right over there.
He said those exact words. It sounded like a 30-06 to me. And we tend to believe that it's more likely than not that he was in that area for a reason to create the narrative that the gunshot went from there rather than down towards Charlie. Because the interesting thing is one of the people that I was speaking to only a couple of days ago, that was only 3 people back from directly in front of Charlie, is adamant that the sound came from in front of him.
Like from the speakers or from inside?
No, he doesn't know, but he just believes the sound came from in front of him.
Have you guys seen the Adam Bartholomew video where after everything happens and everyone scatters to, where they had that tent where people, the TPUSA tent up and to the left where,
yes.
And they were like, if you don't know Jesus, come and we'll pray for you. Right after that lady sitting down and she's saying that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know who that is?
No, who is that?
Jeremy Gorman's wife. The TPUS videographer guy. That's his wife in that tent with the red hair and a hat.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and she actually mentions that her partner is getting live messages of what's happening.
Yes.
So someone's in contact with Jeremy,
right?
Yeah, someone's in contact with Jeremy. Yeah,
from maybe inside the car, supposedly, right?
Maybe, yes.
Or at the hospital, maybe.
Yeah, but that's who it is. Yeah,
that's interesting. So right there, while Adam's over there still, what you see is there is a backpack on the floor, a black backpack, right? And people are pointing to it, saying that they wanted the cops to come over. Do you guys remember seeing that?
Yeah, I think it's in a couple of videos. You can see that.
Did anyone ever go look at that backpack and clear that it didn't have a weapon in it? Because didn't there come out a report or in testimony that there was a weapon in a backpack located down there in the amphitheater?
That guy actually reported, he said the shot came from right here.
Yes.
And he's pointing down at the backpack that's sitting on the ground.
Yes.
I've got a really clear image of that particular guy. I think his shirt, if off the top of my head, it says Utah LFG, let's effing go.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm trying to actually identify that guy.
And Matt, there was another eyewitness that was right. So there was a speaker at that second tent. There was a speaker there right on the, looking at it from where Charlie is looking at the right-hand corner.
Yeah, another, like an actual speaker facing out. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, random, had green edges.
Were adamant that the sound came out of that speaker.
Interesting.
And on top of that, there was someone guarding that speaker.
Weird.
And they were very sort of aggressive, forceful sort of way that they wouldn't budge from it, that was right there. And he actually described the person. And we looked back into video footage and found that it was exactly as described. So it was described by this person in black. So like a middle-aged sort of ex-military sort of looking people, which there was many there that day that sort of had that similar look, with a black shirt on. And he was there, and we found, and they also described him as having a picture of a motorcycle on his black shirt.
Yeah, he does. Just to clarify what happened there, that guy was an audience member who couldn't hear what was going on, and he went to that speaker, went to the back and tried to reach up to see if the volume was up on the speaker because it wasn't working. and he said 2 guys came and grabbed my arm, and told him not to touch the speaker. And then that other guy in the black motorcycle shirt that you're talking about, he stood there and pretty much guarded that speaker from there on.
That's correct.
But he said it wasn't working.
I see. Wait 1 second. I see what you guys are talking about now. Not you two. The chat is saying that there's glitching going on, and I see it in my feed where I'm monitoring the chat, the actual live feed. It looks like it's stopped now. I was trying to listen, but it keeps going out. Is it still happening right now, you guys? Chat, it's not y'all's internet. It's a YouTube glitch issue. Yeah, I have full bars. That's annoying. Mystic, is it still going on right now? All right. I mean, we'll press on. If it keeps happening, like if I see it happen a couple more times, then we'll just maybe we'll just end it, because it'll just keep on refreshing, and it'll suck for all of us. It's not going to make the audio good or anything that we're saying. Let me read these 2 real quick so that I can get them out of the way to make sure that we don't lose it before, if we have another audio issue. Zamet says, reinstates maybe my faith in humanity, not New York, but reinstates my faith in humanity to hear people with other accents mention JFK. Especially in I know I don't have an accent. Well, it depends on where you're from, Zamet. But I might have an accent to you. But what we see with Charlie, I mean, someone should write out. I might even do this. The similarities and they're not coincidences. How many of the exact same like things that happen with JFK are happening in the Charlie Kirk assassination? Whether that's
Far too many. Yeah. I think I mentioned it before that we're not going to let it be another JFK.
No. My only concern is that what do we do when we get to the point that we need?
Yeah, I wanted to chime in on that bit. Can I just say that I've had a lot of thought into that, and I think because of the possibility of law enforcement involvement and 3-letter agencies, I think the only way we would ever get any real justice with this is with a congressional investigation. If we could get a congressman to start a petition to get enough support to start a congressional investigation, especially into the way that the evidence was handled, I think that would be the best angle to get it back into some sort of authority who has some kind of power and reinvestigate the whole thing from a congressional subpoena point of view. But I understand the difficulties of getting that. You'd need another Thomas Massey or someone that would take it on as their main goal. So
and,
I think
if I can step in and sorry, did you finish, Muppet?
Yeah. That's basically what I think we could do with information in the end. That's the only way we could get any real possible form of justice.
Yeah, and hopefully that's something that's possible, that's able. So I can't comment on that because I don't know the legalities of things, but it brings me back to the very first question at the beginning of this podcast when Matt was asking me, and I sort of got sidetracked from the full answer, but it was to the point that we need to encourage whistleblowers. So if we want to resolve this as quick as possible, we don't want to wait for Tyler Robinson to get acquitted in 2 years from now, if he does get acquitted, even if it goes to trial, because that's literally how long we've been told it could take. And then we're going to be back to the start, that it's, okay, well then who did it? Who's going to investigate it? They're going to want to try and sweep it under the carpet and have us forget it and whatever else. And I think the agencies or let's say even the FBI, they're using they will use their own incompetence as their excuse for not gathering evidence. Oh, you know, it was like in the preliminary cause hearing when they asked, "Oh, did you interview that person that took that video?" "Oh, no." You know, "Did you do this?" "No." "Did you do that?" So, like, they're clearly not investigating things like that. I don't believe the SUV was actually impounded and forensically investigated. I mean, even Blake Neff said when we were questioning him, "Oh, what crime? What took place?" "No, that was the Losi rooftop. The crime was on the Losi rooftop." Why would they want to
Interview me?
Why would they forensically examine the SUV? Like, he got shot, right? So that's how the government narrative is, and the FBI and that they're not going to go and investigate anything other than that or anything outside the box. They're not going to use their own intuition and go, "You know what, just in case, let's do this and let's do that." No. And then it's too late. They can't go back to test the evidence in the future because the car's gone. You know, everything's gone. So
All of it's gone.
So yeah.
Can I just chime in with that? Because that goes against Frank Turrek's story, because Frank said that I'm not sure if it was the police or the FBI took control over the vehicle for a couple of hours. And they weren't allowed. Yeah, they weren't allowed into the vehicle. So I can only presume that there are some evidence photos taken of the inside of the vehicle with actual evidence tags, hopefully. Or they just did some basic looking over the vehicle and then cleared it and let it go.
Or maybe there was just, you know, a lot of police cars turned up at the hospital because Charlie ended up there, and the SUV was one of the cars, and there was lots of police cars around.
Frank does say that they weren't allowed back at the vehicle for a couple of hours.
Yeah. So you know, okay, and
then it was after that when he found the necklace. That's when he went back and found the necklace, when they were allowed back into it.
Okay, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. So the police looked in the car, they stuck their head in, they looked around, and then did they see anything suspicious? Conveniently not. Or did they take some photos? We don't know. Okay, let's say they took some photos. Okay, then what's going to happen? We don't know. But it doesn't appear that they impounded the car because they let him go back there, and it looks like they didn't forensically do anything because clearly, somehow, magically, this necklace appears on the briefcase, which possibly is a replacement necklace if you want to go with the pendant theory, or what or not, we don't know. But it doesn't make any sense. So we know that, but normally I would think if a murder happened within a motor vehicle, I think that it would get towed. I think the police would come, they would impound it, they would tow it away to their facility.
Correct.
Then they'd have their forensics experts go through, do what they need to do. It will be impounded for however long it has to be. If it has to be held for a trial, which may not be likely, but for a particular amount of time, whatever, sounds plausible. But there's no evidence that happened.
Yeah.
So,
let me. Sorry. Were you done? I'm sorry.
No, well, I had one other comment.
Go ahead.
Which I'll just say quickly, and then you can talk. And my other comment was that to fully get justice, we need to encourage whistleblowers to knock this on the head and get the investigation moving forward. But if you're a whistleblower, who are you going to go to? Like, you're going to be scared for your life. You're going to go to the local police. You're going to go to the FBI. My phone was ringing. But where are you for whistleblowers on what can they do if they did want to come forward? Because I mean, even like, for example, it was hinted in a space even last night about.
Wait, Matt, something happened. Your phone?
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of disturbance now.
Yeah. And now there's an echo. Maybe log out and come back in. I'm going to pull him out. Maybe you can message him, Muppet.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. And then I'm going to add some things. And then just Muppet, when he said he's ready, just let me know, and then I'll let him back in. Yeah, so think about this, you guys. Charlie wasn't pronounced dead at UVU. Okay. Not only that, anywhere where the supposed, assassin went, or a piece of evidence was found, or where Charlie went in between the time he was either shot or blown up to the time he was pronounced dead at the hospital, everywhere in between would be deemed part of the crime scene. This would be a massive crime scene, actually. It would be down there in the amphitheater, like almost anywhere on UVU until they deem it otherwise. They found a backpack abandoned over by the library bus stop. You have the top of the Losi Center. They found a bullet on another rooftop. Someone supposedly was shooting a rifle off of another rooftop. You have the computer science building. Then you have the housing community behind the Losi Center where Phil Lyman's family lives, where that stinking Ring doorbell cameras footage is from. The rifle being, found in the bushes. And then you have, the vehicle, and then all the way to the hospital. All of that would be considered crime scene. It all should have been handled with extreme care. I do think that the vehicle should have been impounded. It should have been like towed, not obviously driven. They don't drive it there. They would tow it there to the crime scene. Well, it depends on where. Probably State Bureau of Investigation would have some sort of their forensic crime scene, technologists that would, analyze. They would have to take everything out of there. Like, they don't know what pieces of Charlie's blood or explosive material might be microscopic and in there. They'd go through that with a fine-tooth comb until they determined it wasn't evidence.
Yeah, 100%. That was a major thing with me with those SUV photos that we saw, and the brown paper bags that still had blood all over them, and water bottles that still had blood, and medical packaging. I'm like, how is any of that still there? Wouldn't every single one of those items should have been collected, bagged and tagged, and done forensics on? I don't understand. So that's what I was getting back with the congressional investigation thing on the way that the evidence has been handled. I think that's one avenue that they could actually open another investigation into it, and like get people like Kash Patel subpoenaed and get him up on the stand and get him to explain exactly how the evidence was handled and who handled what, and the chain of custody with the evidence. I think that would be a key point that they could actually get another investigation done. So.
Yeah, I don't think that they have proper chain of custody with any of the pieces of evidence that have been brought forward. Not even with the stinking the surveillance, the Losi Center. We don't know what's happened with that footage. We also don't know why Officer Bagley and possibly no one else viewed from the time that Eagle Boy jumped off to the time Officer Bagley got up there. Yeah. Why didn't they view that camera to see who else got up there?
Exactly. I think one thing with the footage is that we've seen footage that seems deliberately downgraded in resolution. So if they can get the same similar footage from the same camera and present that it's in 4K or at least 1080p, then you presented us with purposely downgraded footage.
Yes.
I think that footage should be chucked. I think it's untrustworthy. It's been altered. It's not factual evidence anymore.
Yeah, I agree. Matt, are you back? Saint Baker.
I think so.
Yes.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you okay. It happened after you got a phone call, huh?
Yeah, I think so. And I think even my earpods then picked it up for some reason, even though I thought I'd turn the Bluetooth off, but I just did so that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You're good.
When did it drop out? I think I had nearly finished. Did I finish what I was saying?
Literally almost the whole thing we didn't hear. So from the moment the phone call came in, we didn't hear anything after that.
Where was I up to?
You wanted whistleblowers to come forward, which I think is an important thing.
Yeah. So I think we need to work out a way to encourage whistleblowers, how they can come forward safely, because if you're a whistleblower, you're going to be too scared. Even I was in a space last night, and it was even hinted at that, people are saying, well, why doesn't Tyler's parents come forward? Why don't they come and speak out and explain his innocence and explain this and that? But, it was hinted that, well, they might be scared to as well, because maybe their lives might be threatened. Like, that's how deep this goes, and the power that they have is that no one would feel safe. So if
I
someone's got
guarantee you, the
crucial
lawyers have told his parents to shut up and don't say a
Yeah.
word to anybody. That's
Well,
they're
that's
following legal advice.
Yeah,
Yep.
that is correct. But I'm also looking at it from the opposite angle of that. Even for them to want to talk, they might not feel safe to. So that's the issue that we're dealing with. Because there will be whistleblowers out there, but who do they go to? Where do they go to know that they're going to be protected and be safe? And that's a big deal. And that's something that collectively we need to help them work out how they can whistleblow. And I think that the power of the people, of the voice, speaking out, like on podcasts like this, getting the word out, actually creates safety. I mean, even Barron has mentioned that a couple of times when it's talking about releasing information. Is if everyone releases it so widely, then that actually, in a way, protects that person, because
Hey, can I just grab
is
that
out there in the
point?
public. Yeah.
That was going to be my final point for the whole day, and I'll let you get on with your super chat stuff, Matt.
Okay.
I think this is the time when YouTube podcasters and X accounts need to join forces.
Yes.
This is the moment where we've got enough potential there to get enough numbers and a big enough audience if we all combine forces.
Yes.
And if we can control YouTube narrative, we can control the X narrative, and do that in a combined way, that the power with that is massive. And I think we need to take the opportunity at the moment. I think the time right now is perfect. We need to. So yeah, I think all your grudges and whatever you have with other people, put them behind. And let's get join everybody together. So
I don't know if you've noticed, I've been making a conscious effort to, even though I think I may have valid reasons to not trust certain people, but I've made a conscious effort to try to do exactly what you just said. And that's another reason why, like, having you guys on and participating in X Spaces, I think that if we work together, we could do so much more than if we
100%
fight with one another over petty differences. I think I don't know, where would you start, Matt? Like we might need to have some sort of conversation, I know, focusing on, I don't know. Okay, what would you say is the starting point, Matt?
I don't have the answers. I've got the questions. I think we have to just let enough people know and be convinced that it was not Tyler Robinson's 30-06.
Yes.
And to believe that it is a deep state hit.
Yes.
And I don't think that's hard to convince people anymore, because I
Correct.
think the only people that believe that are either involved in it or involved in the cover-up of it.
Yes. That's exactly what I was going to say, because if we, not that it's not important because there's certain people that have obviously been invested in specific theories and specific causes of death for Charlie, no matter who that is, like, they've spent a lot of time and effort in that. But I would say what we all have in common, all of us, we don't believe it was Tyler. We don't believe it was the 30-06. And we don't believe the official FedSlop narrative. We believe that there's so much more here. We're being lied to. They're all covering it up. There's a lot of people involved. It seems to go all the way to the top, and maybe even, overseas to other countries.
That's the common ground, Matt.
Yes.
That's the common ground that we all need to put out.
Yeah. Well, you guys, I'm going to let you guys hop off, okay? It's 2 hours. It's even, I don't want to take too much more of your time, okay? Are you guys good on time or what?
Yeah, man, I'm fine. I'm If I don't do this, I'll just be on an X space at the moment, probably.
All right. Are you still good, St. Baker? Oh, he hopped off. All right. Well, hold on one second. Maybe he'll hop back on, unless he had a glitch. Maybe he had a glitch and he pulled out and he's going to come back in. Wait, are you still there? Wait, why is that not there? Hold on.
I'm still here.
Yeah, but why is it showing it like that?
I don't know. I can see that. So I'll just sit here in the background. You do your thing.
There we go. There we go. All right. Let me read a couple of these because I think there might be questions or comments for all of us. Hopefully Matt will hop back on. Maybe he took my I sounded like I was ending it. Thank you so much, Honey Butter, for the 2 jewels. Sharice Click, did y'all see where Trigger Smart super zooms and goes frame by frame, and it looks like there may have been a gun and possible shot taken from roof? I'm going to answer this. And then you can share what. There we go. Matt's back. There we go. All right, cool, Matt. Sorry, I didn't know. Did I mess you up, Matt?
No, it wasn't you at all. I think I had an internet connection problem, but it's all good now.
Okay, good. I'm going to answer this, and then you guys can chime in. I was just reading this question. Sharice gave, did y'all see where Trigger Smart super zooms and goes frame by frame, and it looks like there may have been a gun and possible shot taken from roof guy? So I've looked at this, and I've even heard Matt talk about it in a following X space. He doesn't say that he thinks there's a gun there. He clarified, because people were saying that he said that. He said it looks like there's an object there. Could be any object, but we also know that there was an actual object. There was a freaking towel and a blanket. The other problem, like Matt and Muppet pointed out, the video is already piss poor quality. The more you zoom in, and even your question says super zoom is in. So even just the little zoom in that was done for, you know, the feds when they shared their video with us of him, you know, jumping off, you can't see distinct things because it's so pixelated. You're going to lose definition to be able to discern specifically what is there. I think that
it's like a Bigfoot video from the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if he had a 49-inch Mauser, you would at least see a thing pointing up to the left or to bottom to the right. You would see some part of it that would indicate that there's a long rifle there. And this is the other thing I'll say, and then I'm going to let Matt and Muppet, you know, they can add their part. When you have to go frame by frame by frame to try and show movement, you're doing too much. And I'm not the only person that has made that statement. I do not see anything, even in the frame by frame, that I could conclusively say that's because of a recoil. He could have just moved like a very small amount. And I don't even know that what we see is him moving. Like, there's artifacts in video when it's bad quality, you're zoomed in, now super zoomed in, and you're going frame by frame. So I don't conclude what I think. Well, I don't even know that Trigger concluded that. I think he was just trying to be analytical, and he was trying to just show that there's a possibility that he had something in his hand and that he might have moved. But I don't think Trigger actually made a conclusion.
Yeah, I never saw him conclude it. And yeah, I've watched that video so many times now. And when he comes into frame on the bottom left and runs across before he jumps over the wall, there is no gun. He's not running with a 44-inch Mauser.
No.
That he's just apparently put together somewhere, like just there. And then one other thing that I think they could really pick up on is when he goes into the crawl and does the lateral crawl, or whatever Candace calls it.
Yep.
That gravel where he's dragging his knee would be so disturbed.
Yep.
And then you never see that even on the helicopter footage afterwards. And when they're on the roof, there's no disturbed gravel where he's just done this weird lateral crawl. And he'd leave a trench doing that. Yeah. He's dragging his knee, dragging his foot. Yep. There's no disturbed gravel of him doing that. So I've got a big problem with that whole video. I don't think I'm not even sure it's real. I got my doubts that it's been edited in some way. The background compression looks so weird.
Yep.
Everything's in the wrong place. I've got big problems with that video.
John thinks it's been messed with. John Bray thinks it's been messed with.
I 100% agree. I don't trust it.
Yeah.
But even if it is real, if you want to give him the benefit of the doubt, I don't. There's no gun. Like,
No.
With that footage that Candace has released, he appeared to be wearing some sort of a jacket or actually, I think she might have actually described it in her show. Like
a whoopee.
Yes, that's the one. Yes.
It's like a poncho. It's got no arms. It's kind of like a tarp that goes over you.
So either something like that or a jacket. And so he had something in his hand. It could have been because, don't forget the 30-06 was wrapped in a towel. So, it could have been the towel that he sort of threw out in front of him. You know how the Kenneth said, was he folding something out, hinting could it be a fold AR? Well, absolutely not.
No.
So it could have been a towel or it could have been a jacket.
Yes.
I don't even think it looked like a backpack. I don't even know if he had a backpack, but let's assume he had a bag or something. But looking at him there where our closest view is when he's running towards that spot, is probably better image than when he's coming off the roof. Afterwards.
Correct.
So I can't see anything in his hand. I can't see a bag in his hand. Definitely not a gun. There's definitely.
Correct.
So really just looks like a guy running with that jacket or with that whoopee thing, and when he gets to the ground, does he throw something out? Well, if he does it would be more than a towel or a jacket or a small bag, if anything, but it's that far away that you can't even tell. But it's 100% not a gun, and he's nowhere close enough to the ledge to get a shot off on a 10-degree angle, and you can see that from the other camera footage that was taken on the side view. And it's conclusive now that he doesn't get any closer to the ledge. So it's actually conclusive that side view footage that we have that came out is as far as he got to the ledge, and then he ran from there. And that's probably why the footage mysteriously cuts out, because it would then show him stand up and run away. So
yeah.
In my mind, that makes it conclusive that no gunshot was taken from the lazy roof. But I can even go a step further now. So I would say we can conclusively say no gunshot was down at that 10-degree angle, because you'd have to be either on your knee or you'd have to be right at the edge to tilt your gun.
Correct.
So if people argued that, but maybe he just, like John Bray's theory is the gunshot sound could have come from there. So I even questioned to John the other night, I said, now with Candace's video, would you now agree that the gunshot sound likely did not come from the Lacey roof? We can rule that out. It must have been from another roof. And he agreed with me. He agreed that he agreed that it couldn't have been there, because I don't think anyone could argue that he even got a shot away, even if it was just straight ahead or into the air or anything. It was too quick.
There's nothing
there. He
there.
didn't have a gun. There's just nothing there. So John Bray hinted that there's indications from other videos that there could have been movement on other roofs.
Yes.
We don't know, but I think it's, in my view, it's more than it is 100%. It's not a 99.9%. It's 100%. There was no gun on the roof and no shot was fired from the roof. That's my view. And because of that alone, they should be releasing Tyler from jail. That's just my view, though. Other people don't have to agree. And obviously the prosecutors won't agree, or the judge. But that's what I believe should happen. Because of that alone, it conclusively proves it.
Yeah. Let me read these real quick. We got Common Sense Collective, 100 Joules, thank you. And then we have Mystic, Muppet, and Matthew St. Baker. We're so stoked to have y'all join us on Blackline Brief tonight. Thanks for your relentless pursuit of truth and for sharing your insights with us. Love you guys.
No worries. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thanks, Mystic. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Mystic is dope. And then we got Cowlins became a member. Thank you, Cowlins. Well, I definitely, want everyone to know that this won't be the last time. Like Muppet and Matt said, that we all need to be like using each other's platforms together and help one another to get the overall message and to reach more people. So we'll definitely be doing this again. I usually go 3 hours. Tonight I'm definitely not. I'm on vacation. It's my birthday, and I'm gonna go hang out with my wife and kids.
Yeah, man. Happy birthday.
Thank you guys so much. But I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart and from this community, Muppet and Matt, thank you guys so much for coming on today. But we'll do this again. Okay.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think in some way, in somehow, some fashion, we need to do a mass collaboration.
Yes.
Get as many YouTubers and X accounts all on the same platform and see if we can make it happen.
Okay. I think that's a
I
good
loved
idea.
it, Matt. Thanks for having me on. I really, really appreciated the opportunity. And, we just want all voices out there to, explain what's happening and educate the public. And, we just need the power of the public. If enough people agree, eventually the people in authority cannot ignore it. They can't ignore it if just enough people call it out. So, yeah, thanks very much, Matt.
100%.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys. All right. I'm going to let you guys go. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. Let me go full screen. All right. Well, you guys, it's 2 hours, 11 minutes. Also, I know Baron went super late tonight, and it's also we're on vacation, and I'm gonna change my setup for tomorrow to where I'm a little bit more comfortable and I'm not moving around as much. And so I'll fix that for tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss tomorrow's show with Clint Russell from Liberty Lockdown. I also don't know if I should change the time to 7 or if I should just keep it at 6. I guess we'll find out. If you guys haven't done so already, please do me a favor and hit the like and the subscribe. It's the best way to help support the channel, and I really appreciate it. You can also, if you would also, after the fact, you can write a comment underneath the video and hit the hype points. It'll help reach more people. And I apologize for any of the audio issues tonight, streaming in different countries, different continents, different devices, different internet systems, networks. It's you're bound to run into a few glitches. YouTube did its own funny thing and messed with our videos as well, so that's cool. But other than that, I really appreciate everyone for hanging in there. Who do we got? We got another one here. We got Mustang with the 250 joules. Thank you so much. All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, Rooted Mountain Life. All right, tomorrow's going to be a good one. You're going to want to be here, and I'm going to have it set up, and the setup will be better. It'll be more comfortable for me, and I won't have to be holding this mic in my lap. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I love you guys. God bless you guys. I got to pull that off of there before I move on. It'll just be sitting there the whole time. Let me go back to here. All right. And, I saw somebody, I'm going to do this real quick. If you guys wanted to, you can also donate to the channel through Buy Me a Coffee. If you don't want to do anything through YouTube, you just click the link, or you go to buymeacoffee.com/the Blackline Brief, or you can do it here at the Blackline Brief Venmo account. You can either scan the QR code, or you can look it up at Matthew-McKim-2. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for another great show. Thank you for being here for my birthday, and I love you guys. God bless you guys. I'll see you guys here tomorrow, 6 p.m., unless I update the time. 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, unless I update the time. All right? I'll keep you guys posted. Bye.